Well, hello, everybody. I am happy to be with you and happy to share some of the things I have learned about technology in the last few years. You know, technology affects all of us, which is really cool because, I do a podcast all about Scotland, and I share Scottish music and culture. And as awesome as that is, not everybody, is into Scotland, But what I have found is that everybody is into technology to varying degrees of understanding and experience and struggle. So it's pretty awesome to gather with others and just address the topic, some of the ways, this is another definition, in which social groups provide themselves with the material objects of their civilization. Now that got me thinking as I started studying all this. So where do these material objects come from? What is this technology? So I dug a little deeper. The prefix techno comes from the Greek techne, which means art, skill, craft in work, or a system of making or doing. So that's the techno part. And then I dug even deeper than that, because I just love to do that. I love to get to the bottom of things. And at the bottom of technology, you find the root tex, T-E-K-S. And if you don't take anything else away from me today, please take that root away with you. Tex, T-E-K-S. What does it mean? It literally means to weave or fabricate. This is another example of technology. Books, writing, typewriters, computers, lamps, you name it. Even the humble pencil. I tell my kids all the time, they say, "Can I play with technology?" Here you go. Here's a pencil. Have at it. So we have a little fun with that. So the heart of the word technology then is the art and the skill that is used to make or build objects that are useful for human living. And, the good news about all this is not that the art and skill belongs to just the person that created the piece of technology, like baby bottles. It also belongs to us. It applies to anyone who harnesses that tool, as well as to the person who made it. That, I thought, was the best news of all. His main themes were this threat to human freedom from modern technology and the Christian's unique contribution to the modern world. This is why I'm just flabbergasted that I came across this guy. Not only does he have an awesome way to look at technology and evaluate it, he is also a Christian. And it just blew my mind, that he would not only spend books presenting the problem, he also had the solution. And I'll be sharing that with you. Well, let's get into the first of my 3 steps here. We're renewing our understanding of technology. So another discovery I had recently, courtesy of my pastor, Pastor Aaron, is that God is the original technician. And this kind of goes hand in hand with our own changing of the word technology in our hearts. To realize that not only is technology about us, we are God's technology. Pastor Aaron shared the key words of Psalm 139, 13 through 16 recently, and it kind of just jumped out at me, We're formed, knitted, made, woven, saw. He saw us, and we were written. And I focused on the word woven, and I dove into that a little bit, and you get to the Hebrew word sakach, which means to hedge or fence about, to shut in. Think of the womb where we spend the first moments of our being, life. And it also means to weave together, which directly relates to the root of technology. So it's very fair to say that God is the original technician and that he's a God of technology and that we can produce technology and be creative because he first produced us. We're told that we can love because he first loved us. Well, we can do technology too that way. So that was really exciting. Charles Spurgeon, in his commentary, says, "We are covered in God cloth," which is a beautiful way to think about it. Your skin as God cloth. What tapestry, he says, can equal the human fabric? So, yeah, your phone does dictate a lot of what you do, right? You might think, oh, no. I set this. I am the one that puts the apps on. This is me. Well, yeah, it is you, but it's you as Apple wants you to see you, right? So you're right, Isla, very deep. So the bottom line there is that big tech is controlling the technique in today's digital landscape. And when I say big tech, I mean the ensemble of the biggest technology companies. Microsoft, Apple, Google, Alphabet, even Netflix, I think you could throw in there now. Just any company that has gotten so big that it's dominating the stock market and also dominating our lives in a lot of ways. All this said, we have to realize that we can't trust companies that have different values than us to dictate the best methods for us. That's the bottom line, you know. When you understand technique, right, and when you apply it to our new understanding of technology, that it's all about us and our art and our skill, all right, then you say, well, wait a minute, Apple and Google and Microsoft and all the others. You're trying to tell me how to do this in all these different areas of my life. I'm supposed to be in charge of that. I'm supposed to be reading God's word. I have good works to do that have been pre-planned in advance. And yet you're telling me which ways to go, you know? No, we got to stop that. We must choose methods ourselves based on God's word. And that's going to mean, again, the scissors, cutting the cord between you and any tech that doesn't help you glorify God. You have to purge anything that doesn't make the cut, okay? Cancel the subscriptions, sell the gadgets, close the accounts, say bye-bye to any company that doesn't respect your values and is getting in between you and your kingdom business. As my friend Doug Smith has pointed out in his book, Unintentional, it's sort of a 1-2 with these companies. You know, the first punch is waking you up to, hey, you know, find your authentic self. You know, it's all about you, you know. You decide, you know. Live a little, you know. Go with your feelings, right? That's the first punch, okay? And then it's whoop, okay? And that second punch is, but here are the desires we're going to shape for you, okay? Through the technique we use and the screens that you access our content. Here's the desires we'd like you to have. You know, it's all about you. Come on, it's all about you. Here are the desires we want for you, you know. And believe me, I keep my phone in my pocket, one, because it counts my steps, and it won't if I don't, okay? But I need to get past that, because if I'm going to teach this stuff, I need to live it, okay? And two, it kind of feels good to keep it close. It's like, okay, I'm good, you know? But you need to practice putting this in the other room. You need to practice purposely leaving it at home when you come to church or anywhere you're going. Practice being without it. And most definitely the first hour of the day and the last. But practice these things with your kids, you know. Develop wonder in them, you know, away from a bright screen. I don't know if you've noticed this, but the more you give a kid a screen, the less they want a book. And even the less they want to watch a movie. Like, movies are so old school, you know, when you have a bright, shiny screen where it interacts with you, you know. It's kind of amazing to see that transition in them, you know, to see them say, books suck, you know, or I don't like to read books, you know. You don't want to get there. And if you see those symptoms, you need to make changes quickly so that they can develop a love for learning, a curiosity. The more they read, the better they're going to do in school, the bigger vocabulary they're going to have. There's so many advantages. Reading aloud with them, letting them read to you, so many ways you can do it. Another piece of advice, especially with kid households, is ditch the digital assistants. Okay, we're talking Siri, Google, Alexa, okay? I have an acronym for these, LED. Anybody know what it stands for? It's not the LED we know of technology. LED. Caledonia, do you remember this from our talks? Okay, LED stands for lazy, entitled, and dumb. Okay? And I mean dumb not in the insulting sense. I mean intellectually dumb. Okay? When you use a digital assistant on a regular basis, okay, you're basically opening the door to getting lazy, you know, being entitled. You get information right away. There's no waiting. and you don't care about journeys of discovery anymore. Just give me the information. I don't want to go to the library. I don't want to pick up a book. I don't want to open the dictionary. I just want it now. And we have to remember that learning is a journey. It's not an instant download. So for those reasons and more, ditch the digital assistants. And trust me, I have used Siri rarely, but a few times, because even I give into this stuff. It's human nature to want what's easy. You've heard of the phrase FOMO, right? The acronym FOMO. It's fear of missing out. That's why we get on social media, to see what we've missed. That's why we, want the latest gadgets, because we want what our neighbor has. But I'm here to turn FOMO upside down, and I want you to join me in it. FOMO is not fear of missing out on those things. It's fear of missing out on the good works that God has planned in advance for us to do, The one thing I would say with the metaverse is that every minute spent virtually is a minute less that you're going to have to spend in the real world. So that's how I sum it up. I'm not going to tell you don't go into the metaverse. I'm not going to tell you don't jump into a virtual world. There are many of them now. But I will tell you that, every minute spent there is going to be a minute less you have in this world. This is the world you live and die in. I'll leave you with this. The duty of a Christian, and I got this from Jacques Ellul, and this, in fact, was at the beginning of his book, The Technological Society. Again, the book he wrote in 1954, where he introduced the concept of technique to the world. And it wasn't even him that presented this at first. It was the translator to his book. Again, he's French, right? So the English translator reminded me of this. He said that Ellul says that we stand uniquely, Christians do, at the intersection of this material world and the eternal world to come. Our duty is to testify to the truth of both worlds and affirm our freedom. So, folks, this is not just about you, okay? It's not even just about your family, We have to take this to others. We have a duty to we have a duty to the world, to other people, to help them find freedom here, and to testify to the truth of both worlds. And I found an image that sort of fits that. It's just such a beautiful image, not this particular one, but the mental image that he gives us with this idea, this duty we have, We're standing with 2 feet on this world, but we know there's a world to come, and we can speak to both of them. And that means that we are in a prime position to, change the world.